I'm Rachel, here with Ari, and we're your hosts for the Merry Writer podcast. This week, we're on episode 314 asking, who is Sam Weiss? Before we start, don't forget to visit and follow our coffee page. You can access lots of free goodies. And if you're in a position to support us financially, you can become a Merry Writer for $2 a month and get exclusive monthly content. Everything earned on coffee goes into keeping the show going, and we really appreciate any support. Now, this week, we're getting to know Sam Weiss. Sam is a sci-fi horror author who's been published for over 10 years, drawing inspiration from 80s horror films and 90s sci-fi films. Her latest release, In the House of Root and Rot, is available now. So, Sam, thank you very much for joining us on the show again.
Hi, it's great to be here again.
So, last time Sam was on the show, we were talking about how to deal with anxiety as a writer, and I will leave links to that in the description below. But this time, we're getting to know Sam as an author. So, I'll dive into the first question. Sam, what's the self-publishing process been like for you?
Dreadful.
I love that.
But yeah, it's horrible, but also much better than I thought it would be. Like when I began, I was sort of like, okay, if I got like 10 reviews, that would be the coolest thing ever. And then, I surpassed 10 reviews, so many books sold, and so it's been a lot more, what's the word? Hmm. It's been a lot more, what is that word I'm looking for?
Overwhelming?
Better?
Better?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I know what you're trying to say, but I can't
Yeah.
think of the word either.
Whatever. It's been better than I thought it would be, but it's also been super slow. Like you have, days or weeks where you don't get any sales, no page reads, and at that point it feels like, oh my God, my career's over. I'm never going to ever like get another page read, get another sale, get another review again. And that'll happen for like you get these dry spells, and then everything sort of comes in waves where suddenly you get a whole bunch of sales at once and you're all happy and good and you're like, this is great, I love this is why I'm doing it, and then you go back into the valley of no sales, and that's sort of just been the whole thing.
Yeah, no, it's a roller coaster. And I agree with you that when it comes to self-publishing, you kind of need to have those small goals, those small wins. Like having 10 reviews, I mean, that's a pretty hefty goal for many indie authors. So I feel that. And I mean, having self-published 3 books now, every single time I've done it, it's been a different process and I've learned new things. And it's a constant trial and error of trying new things and learning new things. And then technology evolves and it's just a constant roll with the punches. So when your first instinct is to say that the process is dreadful, chef's kiss. I mean, it's just the perfect explanation for that.
Yep.
I have to admit, it's like, I think especially as like writers, because we already have that nice, like a big lump of doubt and then a big dollop of imposter syndrome and all that. So then having these moments of like, wow, look, sales, 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 yeah. And then the quiet periods, even though we know in any form of business and selling of any product, there's almost always like these quiet times and busy times. And all it takes is like one person to put it somewhere like on Pinterest and everyone go, ooh, and then run with it. But I can imagine that kind of that oh my God, it's all over. There's no point in doing it ever again because the sales have dried up completely. But have you, because it's like obviously you've got your second book of the I
Trilogy.
forgot the trilogy. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the second book of the trilogy came out. Did you find that it affected the first book as well? So was it like sales of the second and the first, or was it like your first one dried up and then the second one sort of hit?
Like I got a lot of sales and page reads of the first book even right before I published the second one, and I thought it was just like ARC readers, but I'm not really sure like where it all came from. But yeah, there seemed to be like a big surge for the first book, and then with the second and first one, usually it's like I get a sale for the first one, and if I'm lucky, I get a sale for the second one. Even though I did write it so that the second book is an accessible starting point as well, but a lot of people don't notice details like that. I've been realizing.
No, I can see that, but it's I kind of like that when you can pick up a book in the series and it doesn't like massively detract if you haven't read the first one. Because the number of books I have on my shelf where I bought them and there was no number on, so it's actually like book 3 or 4, and I still haven't got round to finding book one. So it's like it's never getting read because I know I have to read book 1 and 2 before I get to that. But yeah, no, not everyone catches catches the little details.
No. Well, and also like I think my second book, it's like a kind of a more accessible idea. Like it's a little less weird, has a little more like common tropes, like, romance is big now. It has like a little bit of romance. So it's like, okay, this is the one that's like better suited to like actually get pushed out there. But it's the second one in a trilogy, so yeah, it's hard getting people to read that one first.
Yeah, yeah. I have to admit, like, because I've read those, and your first book is a little bit weirder, and I say that with love. I'm not saying that in like, oh, it's weird.
Oh
It's like
no,
it
I
is a little bit
agree.
like trippy, and that compared to the second one, and I liked that as a starting book. I can understand some people were like, no, I'll start with the second, but I actually thought that really worked, and then to sort of move into the second one. So yeah, I actually really like that.
Yeah. I mean, I like the first one too, but just, you learn a lot of stuff self-publishing. You learn what people like and don't like, what's popular. It's a very fast, like, moving thing, and it's a fast learning process. And it's like, why didn't I do this for my first book? But I didn't know better.
Well, everything is constantly changing too, and
Well,
there's
yeah,
no way
exactly.
that you can possibly keep up with it all. Especially since when we write books, we really think about our target audience and who we're writing for and who we want to buy our books and read them and review them. But the majority of readers don't review books. So unless you're targeting certain book reviewers and you're giving them an ARC copy or whatever, I mean, most typical readers, if they're getting it from the library or whatever, like most people don't have blogs. They'll just track their reads on Goodreads or something, but they don't actually write reviews, or they might do a rating and leave it at that. Like they could give you a 3 stars, and it's like, okay, but what did you like and what didn't you like about it?
Yeah.
If you took the time to give it a star rating, why could you just write a sentence or two? That's all I need. So it's hard to tell, like when you get reviews from your second book and not your first book from different people, it's kind of like, did you read the whole thing or did you just jump into the second one? It's all very confusing and it's hard to keep track.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of like, yeah, like what you said, we only see like the reviews. We don't actually know how many of our books have been like read. So you're sort of just like blind, just like, doing whatever you can and not really knowing which direction you're going in.
I always find it funny with reviews. It's like I understand why we need reviews, and I know the system like runs on reviews, but at the same time, having read reviews of books I've liked, and you'll see like reviews saying like, "Oh my God, it was so slow, it took forever," and then others going like, "Oh my God, I loved that it was so slow and it was slow burn and the pacing was good." And you're just like, that's the thing. What someone will hate, someone else will love. So it's, even with comments on a review, sometimes you're like, yeah, that tells everyone nothing. It's like, it's so subjective with some of it, but we do need reviews.
Yeah.
Ah, okay, next question. What made you decide to go the self-publishing route?
Well, I think this sort of piggybacks off of what we were saying before. Like, my books are stranger. So again, when I was, like, I don't know, what, 10 years ago, 2016 now, back then it was, oh, you get traditionally published, and self-publishing, on Amazon was sort of like a last resort where, you just chuck it on there and think maybe like one or two people will read it. And then when I started to join online writing communities, you start realizing that self-publishing is actually very viable, and you start learning about like the marketing side, and that, like traditional publishing isn't as cracked up as it is to be, because it's a very like cutthroat industry, and it's getting more cutthroat as time goes on. So at that point, because I was kind of split, I was like, maybe self-publishing. Like, I kind of just want to send this book to agents just to see if someone will like say yes to like a full manuscript to say that I did it, if that makes sense. But then I never actually went ahead and did that. Like I had all like a list of agents, but I wasn't querying, and it's like, okay, in my heart, I just want to self-publish. And I also like the fact self-published because I can choose the cover, like what the story is going to be. No one's going to tell me that I need to change this or it's not going to get published. I get the final say.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing that a lot of people don't seem to realize still. We've had people on, we see writers and they're like, oh yeah, chasing the traditional publishing, which is absolutely fine, totally viable route to do that. But we still see that kind of like, well, they'll do all the marketing. And it's like, oh God, no. No, they won't. Or yeah, they'll do this and they'll sort that. And it's like, it still seems to be the information of the of trad publishing from like years and years ago where there wasn't as many writers and there wasn't as many books coming out as there are now, especially now we have self-publishing as well. And yeah, you might have had a lot more support as a new author in a publishing house, but now it's literally you're one of many and they'll still give 90% of their effort to the big names that they deal with. And if you're lucky, you'll get scraps. But I think it's this like badge of honor. But I don't know, especially now with self-publishing, it's not got the same stigma that it used to have. When it first came out, it was, oh, anyone who couldn't make it in traditional publishing just threw a book out. And it's like, actually, no, people are doing a really, they're getting it edited, they're getting good covers, they're knowing how to market, they're learning their skill. And it's definitely not got the same like stigma, choosing the same word, the same stink as it used to have. And yeah, it's and especially when you think about it, like you said, you had a list of agents, and then you'd have to approach them, and you have to query it and send you synopsis and all this, and then you have to wait however many weeks or months for them to come back to you if they came back at all. And then if it goes to publishing house, then again, it can take like a year or two just to get a book out, and you could have like 4 books out by then, you know.
I think that's part of the reason why the traditional publishing industry has become more cutthroat than it has in previous years is because pretty much anybody can release a book now if they really want to. And there are some people that don't go about it in, the way that they should, and there are some people that don't get it professionally edited and stuff. So that stigma is still there a little bit, but for the most part, it is more accessible for people to just have that full control, as you said, Sam, that they don't want anybody else to give them an idea of the book cover design. If you have a vision for your book, then I mean, have that full control. And I think self-publishing is the way to go with that because it is faster, but it's also way more expensive. Like there's pros and cons to both. And I think I too had the idea to query agents, and I had like a specific list. And if they didn't get back to me or they said no, then I would just go the self-publishing route. But then you have those people that will be like, "Oh, you just gave up." And it's like, "No, you're not giving up. You gave it a fair shot but in the end, it's your book and you want to share it with the world. Like that's all we're trying to do. We're just trying to share our stories."
Yeah, I agree with all of that. And especially like, self-publishing again, it's so much work. Like you're not really giving up. It's just you're doing a different avenue of work. Like you're still doing the same amount of work. And I've even seen like nowadays, again with the traditional publishing being more cutthroat, a few years ago it would be like, oh, you don't have to get your manuscript edited. They do it for you. And I've been online now and I've seen agents literally say that they prefer it if you already pay for a developmental edit because they want the book as close to being able to be published as possible. And it's like, well, if I'm going to pay for a developmental edit, I might as well just do the self-publishing route. Like that's sort of, like you do the traditional because you don't have to spend as much money.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
true,
And I
yeah.
think with traditional publishing, it's business first, and with self-publishing, it's passion first. And that's
Mm.
the huge difference.
Yeah.
That's a good line. You should have that somewhere, Rachel. That's a really good like tagline.
Thanks. I
Yeah.
just pulled that out of my rear.
No, but that's it though. It's like developmental edit. In fact, edits is probably the most expensive part of the whole self-publishing. Then you've your covers up, but and then developmental edit is a really costly. So then you're going to a traditional publisher and they're giving you what, 15% of royalties, and it's like, and they do a cover that you don't even like. I mean, the number of covers I've seen where they've done like a character on the front, and like I am always using this. There's a series I love, and they have this character on the front. She's got black hair with stripes of red in it, that's not the main character's look. Her hair is this bright orange, weird color because she was on the run and she just got anything and just dyed her hair this like neon orange. And another character has black hair that changes color, has black stripes and red stripes, and it's just like they obviously went, we don't want to put bright orange, so we'll just use this. And it's like if that was my cover, I'd be like, that's not the character. You've done it wrong. So it's like, what are you getting from it if they're not getting the money and they're expecting you to do your own editing? It's like, what's the freaking point? So yeah, no,
Yep.
screw it.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that they both have in common is that the royalties suck, no matter
Yeah.
where or how you publish.
Yep. I'm not doing this for the money.
No, no,
You
we
can't,
definitely
can
are
you?
not.
It's like it has to be passion because nobody
Yeah.
would do it for this. The amount of effort and time and energy you put into writing and editing and sorting a cover artist and getting all your front and matter sorted, and then the marketing fronts go, here's some pennies, enjoy, and then
Yeah,
someone to
it's
read it in 3 days and go, when's the next one?
Oh gosh,
yeah,
really?
yeah. You wake up sometimes you're like, woohoo, 2 cents today. Like, don't spend it all in one place.
Oh, really? Really? Well, speaking of your books, let's talk a little bit about yours. So, we know that your inspiration comes from 80s and 90s horror and sci-fi films, but is there one or, something else in particular that sparked the idea for the Altered Planes books?
Okay, so this is going to be an incredibly anticlimactic response, but I had like two big bang moments from my book. Neither of them are cool. The first one was probably around like 20, no, not 2014, 2004. So I was like 14 at the time. And I wanted to write a story that just had like ghosts or monsters or something in it. And I was walking around and they were building some sort of building. And there was just this elevator shaft sticking straight out of the ground. And it reminded me of like if there was like a burnt down hospital or like a burnt down psychiatric ward or something. And that just like sparked the idea in my head because, the first book takes place in a psychiatric ward. And then so I had that idea and I wrote it when I was 14. It was crap. Put that on the back burner. Always thought about it. And then probably maybe I think about 10 years later, so in 2014, I was like cleaning houses for a living and I was just cleaning a bathtub and suddenly I had this idea like, what if these scientists accidentally opened a portal to the world of the dead? And that just connected with the idea that I had of the psychiatric ward in when I was 14 and it just sort of was like, okay, everything's in motion now.
No, I like that. That is not anticlimactic at all. I really like how you just were walking down the street one day and you just saw something and you were like, you know what? That would make a really cool idea or that would make a really cool setting. And I think that is where some of the best ideas come from. So, no, not anticlimactic at all. That was great.
Yeah.
Well, that always reminds me of Terry Pratchett. If you ever read any of his Discworld, he has the luggage that's got like hundreds of feet, like legs, and it runs after its owner. Um, it's a little bit quite crazy and sentient and eats people, but it's got this thing. And apparently, it was just Terry Pratchett going through. I think it was an airport, and he was there was somebody with one of those wheelie cases, and it was like rattling and wiggling, following this person behind as they were pulling it. And that was it, little thing, and it just came into this like very iconic character, if you will, in the book. And I like that. It's just like, oh, I just saw this one thing, and then it just sparked this really cool idea. And I liked that you didn't get rid of the story that you wrote when you were younger that was crap. You put it away, and then when the other part came up, you were like, I'm gonna reach for that, and then you mashed them together. Because just imagine if you'd have just chucked it and never thought about it again, you wouldn't have this really awesome book. You'd have just had a piece of it, and then you'd have had to find it. But I think that's a nice meld. So yes, I wouldn't say it's anticlimactic. I was hoping for something a bit weirder, to be honest, because of how awesomely weird your books are. Weird in a good way, people. Weird in a good way. I was hoping for something a bit more like, you were drinking red wine and the cosmic energy came through and Cthulhu spoke to you. Something like that, but no, apparently not.
Sadly, Cthulhu has never spoken to me.
I know. We're all waiting. We're
I
waiting
know.
because honestly, in the way the world is going, we could do with Cthulhu coming through.
Yep. It wouldn't be the worst thing to happen, I think, in the last few years.
Okay, yeah, we see you flaunting your books online on Instagram. Always awesome. Do you have any marketing or social media tips you can share with writers, e.g. us?
So I've written here in my notes, cry, period, which
Check.
doesn't help. Yeah. But so what I have done is I look at posts that I like that are sort of in a similar aesthetic to mine or genre, and I look at them and I go, okay, what catches my eye about this? And you sort of study it, and after you do this for a while, you kind of do start to pick out, like what's going to be eye catching, what's going to not be eye catching. So I'll save a lot of these posts, and I just make my own posts from that, kind of using those as templates. And then when I do make a post, I try to look at it from an outsider's perspective and just be like, okay, does this catch my eye immediately? And if it doesn't, what can I do to make it better? Because you're only going to get like, zero point 0.5 seconds to have someone look at your stuff. And then also just uh, like be yourself online, like you can be a better version of you or a more polished version of you, but like be yourself. Like I'm a very self-deprecating person. So if I try to post extremely positive posts that lift people up, they're going to fall flat because that's just not who I am. So, and it's not going to motivate you to post stuff. So just like find your voice, find who you are, and just kind of use that because people will, at the end of the day, like you for who you are as opposed to something that you're not.
Yeah, I can understand that. I also like on your Instagram, it's like, I don't know whether you did it on purpose, but you can see when you go onto your main page, there is like a color theme. It's like there is branding in a way. You can sort of see it and it kind of moves through. And I always like that. And I love how people do it. And I always think, oh yeah, I should do that. And then I don't because I'll pick some colors or something. And then I'm like, I can't find anything that works with that. And also I keep changing my colors, but I really like how obviously it connects to your books and everything, and also just the mood. It's very mood connected, I think, not just color connected, but there's a nice mood to your stuff. Like, is it on the what they're called? The little highlight reels, the little
Oh yeah,
covers,
those
and it's
little
like, the
circles.
rib cage and an eyeball, and it's like it fits very well with this kind of creepy horror thing, and I just love that. It really, that's what catches my eye. These like the tones and these like creepy eye and the heart. I like things like that.
I do. I agree. I really do like your Instagram feed. And posting on Instagram is so hard because you're right. People, they really have like that 2 to 5 second window to look at your stuff before they scroll. And most of the time, people don't read anything. So you really need to make it eye-catching for them to actually like pause on their scrolling and really look at the image that you created. I also like that you said that when you create your posts, you say, how would this catch someone's eye? Because every time I make Instagram posts, I look at it and I'm like, do I like these colors together? Do I like this? And you don't even really do it on purpose, but when you're sitting there staring at it for so long, it really all just starts to blend together and then nothing looks right. And you're totally forget that you're even posting it online in the end anyway. So just quick follow-up question. How long does it take you for you to actually create these posts? I know you said you have templates and stuff, but how long or like how often a week do you spend on marketing?
I mean, it kind of all depends. Sometimes I like some posts, it's like they'll have very similar layouts, so you could just kind of slap them out really quickly. But sometimes I'll spend like, an egregious amount of time on a post that, gets, hardly any likes. So it just kind of all depends because marketing I find is okay. It's not, it takes like, you have to be creative to do marketing. And so, you know how sometimes you get into like a writing groove, sometimes you get into a like marketing groove, and you'll just like spend 2 days just making social media posts, and then I won't make a social media post for like 3 months after that. So it's very sporadic.
But you're doing it and you're doing it well. So that's
Apparently.
all we can ask. Well, according to us, you're doing it well, so
Yes.
take that as a compliment. Now, going back to the afterlife experiment and in the House of Root and Rot, What sort of research did you have to do for those books?
So for Root and Rot, I actually had to do a lot of research on pregnancy and preeclampsia, like a pregnancy condition in general. And like, I don't want kids, and being pregnant terrifies me, but I know way more about pregnancy and childbirth now than I ever wanted to know. And I'm like, oh my God, Mom, how I'm so sorry for being such a jerk for all these years. So that was probably the biggest thing that I researched was that.
That doesn't sound like it was fun research. No offense to, all the mothers out there, but I am in the same boat as you. I do not want kids, and being pregnant terrifies me. So that's not really something that I would want to look up because what was your favorite type of research that you had to do?
Uh, do I have a favorite type of research? I kind of got on this like YouTube kick of like watching YouTubers like birth stories. And that was kind of interesting because everyone's birth story is very different, but it all ends the same, obviously. Here's the kid that I'm showing you on the YouTube screen right now. So I guess like that was interesting, but again, like just some of the stuff that you hear about that happens that you don't even think is a thing, you're like, oh my God, like how do you do it?
No, that's it's to be fair, it fits with the horror aspect.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think if anyone's considering having kids, learning about pregnancy and what you go through and things that happen during pregnancy and bodily fluids and things, I think it would help people to realize that they should not get pregnant because, oh my God, it's that's probably the best way to keep people from getting pregnant is letting people find out what pregnancy would do. Because yeah, no, 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 and then all you get at the end is a kid. I mean, as again, someone else who doesn't want kids and prefers cats, it's like that's not the prize I would be looking for. It's like, is that it? Is that it? So
Yeah. But I mean, I think it paid off because I did have one like ARC reader who's also a nurse, and they said like stuff in my book was realistic, which was like, oh, okay, that's great. Like, my 5 hours of watching birth stories and doing a bit of Reddit research really paid off.
like a stamp of approval.
Yeah.
Yes, you did good research.
Well, that's the thing. When you're writing fiction, obviously everything's fake and it's all made up, but you do want that little bit of truth and reality in it just to make it all that more realistic. And I mean, if with all of that stuff for people like us that don't want to be pregnant and things like that, that's where the horror comes in. And you kind of realize it's an effective form of birth control, I would say.
Yeah, if you're on the fence to have kids, just research pregnancy and see if you still want to do it afterwards.
Or read Sam's books.
Mm, yeah.
That's a good pitch right there.
Yeah. That's what I'm using. I'm writing it down for my next marketing thing.
I'm going to throw in an extra little question, if you don't mind. Extra question.
Yep.
Of all the different things you did when you brought these books out, obviously like art reviews and social media and interviews and everything, was there one thing above all that you found was the best at getting your book out there, the best like marketing thing? Like if you could only pick one thing, you think actually that's probably the best thing that worked the most, or even that you preferred, like if you liked doing something.
Well, I would say like ARC readers, definitely. But with like the caveat that when I did my ARC reader post on Instagram, I actually boosted it with like, money that like you can do. And I found like that actually got pushed my book out to a lot of readers because I got like an insane response from that I wasn't expecting. So if you want to pay for Instagram stuff, pay to boost for ARC readers. Don't pay for anything else because it doesn't work. But I think that definitely has been uh probably like the number one thing. And it's, apart from, paying Instagram $20, it's free. You're not paying book tours and interviewers. It's a very low cost, high reward situation.
That's weird. I never thought of that, and yet I have, because I'm an art reviewer for people. And that I've actually signed on to ARC reviews that were adverts. I hadn't realized they were. It just popped up and it was like, all right, I'm like, oh, that looks interesting. And then I realized it was an ad, but it was like, yeah, I'm like, I'm hooked in. And I've had a few of those pop up, and yeah, I never even dawned on it, but that's actually a really good thing. And how many ARC, if you don't mind answering, how
Um,
many ARC readers did you pick in the end? Did you use everybody, or was it like you've got a
oh,
limit?
well, yeah, there were some people where, it's like, okay, you're clearly just fishing for like a free physical copy. And then I had like one person across like Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok all they wanted to beta read my book, they wanted to arc read my book, and like after they didn't get back my beta read, it's like, well, you clearly just comment on every single post you get for a free book. But I think I had like almost 300 people sign up through that. So that was a lot, especially for like the genre I do, like, horror sci-fi. Because I know like a lot of people that will do romantasy will get a ton, like hundreds of ARC signups. So yeah, that was a lot.
That's awesome, though. Wow.
Yeah.
Extremely overwhelming, but
Yeah, now you're
that's
like,
awesome.
oh my God, people are gonna read this. I'm gonna go like curl up into a ball and
I
never
know
go
you're
back
like,
online.
oh, it's like this is real now.
I know you're like, oh no.
What did I do? Mistakes were made. But that, hmm. Yeah, no, that's actually a really good point because I get mixed, like I see mixed things when people talk about paying for ads on Amazon or Instagram or Facebook or any of those platforms. But and every time I think of that, I always think of once the book is out, you boost the post to help, like say, hey, it's available now. Never really occurred to me to do that for anything other than, hey, the book's already out. So for ARC readers, that's a really clever idea. And obviously that opens up so many doors for that when the book does actually release, you already have all of those eyes on it. And even if people didn't get picked for an arc, well, they probably gave you a follow anyway, and they've been keeping an eye out for when the book does become available to everybody else.
Yeah, and I definitely got like a few like larger accounts, which was really cool. And yeah, what you were saying about boosting the post, when your book comes out. I think I actually tried that like two or three times and like nothing, where it's like, oh, I'm just gonna like see if I'll boost this. Nothing. But Arc Reader, if there's something free, people will do it, and you get like followers, you get so many connections to, people in the horror sci-fi community. So I would definitely recommend it.
I was gonna say if something's free, people jump on it like no tomorrow. But I'm gonna make a note of this and give this a try when my book is at that point.
Yeah.
That's actually, I'm gonna see. I'm probing for details. See, what was? Did you find that there was a good word, a good transfer? That's not the right word, but we're going to use it. A good transfer for how many people who picked the arc to how many reviews you got. Because like we all know that if you send out 100 arcs, you're not going to get 100 reviews. You just don't.
Yeah.
So, but did you find you had a decent enough percentage in that
Yeah,
way?
I found like, so I can't remember. I think I probably sent it to about 200 people at the end. And then I think I got about like 60 reviews, which is a pretty good ratio when they say like it's going to be about one in every 10 ARC readers will leave a review. So from that statistic that I have no idea is true or not, it was good. And I mean, way more ARC readers than I got for my first book. So again, that's a win.
Well, I also think, I don't know, maybe it's changed, but I believe that if your book on Amazon has like 50 reviews minimum, Amazon really starts to push the book. Is that the correct number? I don't remember.
I've heard it's 50, and then I've also heard it's 100. So
Oh, okay. Well, if it's 50,
yeah,
then I mean that helps because you had that threshold. So that's pretty good.
yeah,
I think it might be 50 to push it, and then is it 100 where you get added to that? Other people like this book, kind of, that bit underneath when you pick a book and it says, like, you might like these as well. I think that's 100. You get in there if
Oh,
you get over
maybe
100.
that's it.
I don't know. Amazon's always
I'm
changing
not
shit.
sure.
mm.
They really are. How did you keep track of 200 ARC readers, though? That's
Po
wild to me.
poorly. I had like a Google form, and then what I would do, when I see a bunch of signups, I would just transfer them into an Excel sheet, like the name, you know, like the name, do they want a physical copy? Do I think this person's actually going to get back to me? Yes or no? And the email, and then I think I just copy and pasted all the emails into a big one and sent it. I mean, it's all kind of a blur too, because before you publish, you sort of just enter a state of like chaos. And then it just is all blank after.
That's fair. That's totally valid. But yeah, wow, that's so much work.
Yeah.
That is so much.
I have to
Good for
say
you for
though,
doing all of that. I'm very
Yeah.
proud of you
Oh,
that
yes.
that's
because I know
clever
it's not
though.
easy.
If you think about it, like tracking it on, like having it on a spreadsheet, because think about it, especially because yours is a trilogy, you'll, especially if you've got yours listed, and then if they left a review and you're actually, connected and did shared information, everything, you can mark that next to them. That way, if you do it again for the third book, you can sort of measure them against and go, okay, that one did come back. That one did, this person fucked off, so they're not getting another copy. And it kind of, it's like, I'm really into the data. It's like, and also spreadsheets, because who does
Yes.
not love a good spreadsheet? But
Yeah, I
okay,
think I've put it all out of my memory now, though. I think if I opened the spreadsheet, I wouldn't know how I organized it now. Because, like, it makes sense at the time. And then the information leaves you kind of like when you have a test at school. And it's like, well, I never need to use that again.
But I mean, Ari does bring up a good point though, that yeah, you have like your own little arsenal of readers now that you can pick
Yeah.
and choose, and you know for sure that they've already read the previous book. So when you come up with the third one, you can be like, here you go, if you
Yeah.
want, you
Now
know.
I just needed to decipher my spreadsheet to actually tell who got back to me. And then I'll email you.
Yes, yeah.
it's always surprising though, isn't it? Because you get some people, and this is not just for the reading and the reviews and everything, but like even with like edits and betas and everything, it's like everyone's different. Because some people go, here's some information, you're like, okay, and then others, like one of my beta readers, not only did she beta my novel, which was awesome of her, but she sent me 2 pages of marketing quotes from the novel. It's like I didn't even bother to go through my novel and find quotes that would be useful, and she just out of the blue just went, here, I found all these really good quotes for you. And she put what page number they were on. What? And it's like, you're doing a better job than I am. So I think it's great because sometimes you'll get someone who does like an arc read or anything like that, and they'll go like be above and beyond, and then others it's like you're lucky if they leave you a review at all. So it's a bit of
Yeah.
a hit and miss.
Yeah. And I've definitely like the readers that leave like really good reviews because I'm not great at telling you why my book's good. I'll literally just like copy and paste what reviewers say and put them in like TikTok videos or whatever. Because it's like, oh, you managed to say what I like couldn't. So like that's another tip. Just use what the reviewers say because they can sell it better than you can.
That's freaking genius because I'm very much the same. It's like people are, oh, so tell us about your book. It's like, well, it's slow burn, like really slow. You might if you like things a bit faster, it's going to be quite slow. It takes a while for the characters to, and there's like no spice and everything. So if you're waiting for that, that's not going to happen. And it's quite big, and it's like, okay, I'm not selling it. I'm turning people off. So I'd need someone else to come in and be like, actually, it's good. So yeah, the idea of using, because again, some especially like bookstagrammers and book talkers, some of these people are so good with how they explain things, and some of their graphics are incredible. And you're thinking, God damn it! It's like I wish you could hire them as like, could you do the PR? You'd be perfect. You
I was
know?
just about to say that I'm like, it's like, so how much do I need to pay you to just be my full-time PR person?
Well, yeah, it's just like it's that extra little boost of credibility. That I mean, coming from the author, people are going to be like, well, of course you're going to say that your book is good. And most of us don't actually. We're like, well.
You're like, well, you know,
But when you have reviewers, when you have bookstagrammers like endorsing your book basically, then it's like, oh, maybe this author isn't lying to me after all.
It's kind of sweet though. It's like having other people like say nice things. It always feels weird. It's like I know that's because like I read books and I'm like, oh my God, this book is the best. I loved it. It was great. But if someone did that to me, I'd be like, I don't trust anything coming out of your mouth. It sounds like you didn't read it because there's no way you would have liked it that much. And that's the problem with writers, isn't it? We're all a bit like that.
I was gonna say, taking compliments is hard.
That's the worst thing. Like every time I read a review, I just like convince myself that they're just being nice. And it's like I cannot take a compliment, even though, I'll see something I love and just be like, "Oh my God, it's great," and like shower it with love and affection, but it's like I cannot be on the receiving end of that. It's like, please, please stop. I'm
It's
deeply
easier, yeah, it's easier to boost others than yourself. I
Yep,
get that.
definitely.
I think that's why book signings would always put me off because I wouldn't know what to do if someone came up and was like, "Oh my God, I loved your book." If someone came up and went, "Your book is shit," and then riled on it, I'd be like, "I get it." But if someone came up and was like nice, it would actually put me in a weird position. I'd be like, I don't want to speak to this person. They need to go. Where's the bouncer? Get rid of them. It's just creepy.
Oh, thanks. That would be me.
You sign it and like, get out, quick, just
Yeah,
go.
just leave me alone. I'm humiliated.
Do not make eye contact.
Okay, let's get to our last question. Before we wrap up, would you like to share some details about your upcoming release or current whip or whatever it is that you're currently working on?
Okay, so I'm going to plug my current whip, which will be released this summer. It's a tie-in it's a tie-in novella for the trilogy we're talking about, and it's a horror story about a guy who gets lost in the forest and gets visited by the ghost of his past, and he doesn't know what's real and what's not. And it's called The Stages of Decay. It's up for pre-order now if you'd like, or for ARC or ARC reading. And that's all I have to say because I'm not good at talking about this sort of stuff.
You really aren't, are you?
I do love that title though.
Yeah, it like kind of goes in, so like each stage there's like like the 5 stages of decay when you die, so like each part of the book is a stage of the decay. So it's like self-digestion is the first stage, bloat, active decay, advanced decay, and skeletonization, and it like kind of moves through those stages. Hey, look at me telling you how good my book is.
I want to make
Good
a point.
job.
I
Yeah.
want to make a point.
What?
Where was this coolness when we were talking about research? I want to find out about
Oh,
the 5 stages of decay. I want to hear about self-digestion.
it only said the afterlife experiment in root and rot. It didn't say the current
Ugh.
one.
We weren't specific enough.
Yeah, we know you weren't.
Rachel, this is
You just
you writing the
yeah.
questions a certain
You just
way.
got pregnancy. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
I would way more like to learn about, bloating and, you know, putrefaction.
Yes.
What does that say about us?
We're interesting. Anyone could talk about like boring stuff, but you can get really
Okay.
good conversation about the levels of putrefaction. Oh, okay, I'm gonna stop asking questions and
Oh
and,
my
and
gosh.
making things uncomfortable. Sorry, Rach.
Nope, no, that's fine. It gives me a good giggle. Um, Sam, really, it has been a pleasure to have you on the show again, and I'm sure everybody who has read your books thus far will be really looking forward to this novella that is available for pre-order. Hooray! All the links will be in the description below. And before I let you tell us, a little more about yourself, I have one more pop-up question. Sam, do you prefer coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Yes! Thank you.
You're
Again,
welcome.
it's just not fair. I need to find more tea drinkers and invite them on. You're not allowed to come back on, Sam. That's
Okay.
it. No
I
more.
mean,
No
I
more
I
for you.
enjoy a tea maybe in the afternoon, but I just can't get behind a tea in the morning. It doesn't make me want to wake up,
I'm still
no
putting you
matter how
down as a
much caffeine.
coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I win again. Ari, maybe on Instagram you could make a post and be like, if you like tea, do you want to be on a podcast? And you can boost the post
I
and
think
see
I
what
need to reach
happens.
out to more English people from England, people from China, people from India, because those are places where tea is drunk quite a lot. So I need to get more writers from those countries on to stop this coffee obsession that you people keep bringing and throwing in my face.
I'm pretty sure this competition was your idea too, to ask people.
It might have been, but
I think it was. Okay. All right. So Rachel won again. Hooray, hurrah, hooroo. Sam, we'll start wrapping things up. Please let our listeners know more about you and where they can find you and your work.
You can find me, my author website is authorsamweiss.com, but it's never updated. And you can also find me at Sam Weiss Strange. That's my handle on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And that's where I'm most active, not the website that I already told you about.
Alrighty, well, thank you for all of that. And again, all of Sam's links will be in the description below, including her previous Merry Writer episode where we discussed how to deal with anxiety as a writer. So please go check out her work and give her a shout out in the comments. And remember, we release a new episode every Wednesday. Next week, we're discussing character development. So to ensure you don't miss it, hit the subscribe button on your way out. And if you'd like to learn more about us, check out our website at themerrywriterpodcast.podbean.com and also our coffee page for more content. Thanks for listening to the Merry Writer Podcast. We'll see you guys next week. This podcast is brought to you by excessive caffeine. We drink a lot. The music titled Inspired is by Kevin MacLeod, licensed under Creative Commons 4.0.